as promised in the previous episode, where we are talking about whether it is better to buy a property or to actually rent out a property. So in the last episode, we discussed in detail how to see that you are ready to buy. We discussed in detail what are the pros and the cons of buying a property. So if you didn't get that one, go to that one. I'll put the link on the description below. So the focus for today is what are the pros and the cons of actually renting out a property. So let's get to it, shall we? But as you know, in this channel, we talk about all things real estate, all things personal finance, so that you are the driver of your financial life and not just the passenger. So what do you need to consider about renting a home, right? We'll start with the pros and we'll break down into 3 elements, right? So that you are able to understand what are the benefits of actually renting, right? The first thing is that flexibility. Right, so this is more applicable to people that are younger and the people that don't have families. So this might be ideal for them. Like, you have a flexibility to move around and explore new places without being tied down to a particular place. So that's the benefit of renting. So you can just put in your notice and say, hey, landlord, I'm going. So this is more appealing to people that are not having families and are much younger in terms of age. So this makes sense. But for someone who is a family person, for me, it doesn't work. The other thing is that the second element is that you have no maintenance cost, right? So the cost of all repairs, right? Unless if you have actually just damaged the property, it is in the responsibility of the landlord. But if you have made some sort of damage yourself, then you'll be responsible for those maintenance costs, right? The third element is that there's lower upfront cost, right? So in most cases, when you are renting out a property, you'll be required to just pay a deposit and an admin fee, and that's it. But if you are buying a property, there's a lot of cost that you have to pay upfront, like the transfer cost, the bond cost, a deposit if you are given a lower LTV. So there's a lot higher cost, right? And then in terms of the cons or the disadvantages of renting. But before we clarify that, so if you have not already subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel, share the content with your friends and family, and then don't forget to like and also comment on the comment section. I also want to hear what do you think in terms of what is better, whether to rent out a property for yourself or to actually buy a property for yourself. Which one works for you, right? Okay, so the first element or the cause of renting a property is that it is not an investment, right? The money that you are busy paying on a monthly basis is going towards somebody else's bond. So it's not going into your account that you can get it in the future. Unlike when you are unlike when you are owning the property, the bond payment that you are paying towards that house, it builds up equity that you can actually get in the future. And then the second element is that you have limited control. You cannot make changes to the property, right? And then you are subjected to the rules and the regulations that are set by the owner, and you need to follow them, right? If you like freedom like me, this is not the way to go, right? And then the third thing is that on the contract, the rental or the lease agreement, normally it is described there that there will be rental increases, which is on an annual basis, right? So now we have broken down the benefits and the disadvantages of owning a property, right? And then on the other hand, we have broken down the pros and the cons of renting a property. So which is better? Which is better? Wait for it. So whether buying or renting, it's actually a personal decision that requires evaluation of various factors. Those various factors, we have broken them down in these two episodes, right? So in cases where you have tried to break it down into all these elements that I have broken down for you, maybe you might need some professional advice, right, of a real estate agent or some financial advisor. Maybe do that and find out what is the best option for you, because it narrows down into a personal decision. But for me, and I repeat, for me, owning a property or buying a property is always comes first, because on a long term, it is an investment. On a long term, it's an investment. You are investing in the property, and you are able to sell the property in the future, or you can refinance against the property and you can get the funds to invest on a business, to take your kids to school, or so that's why for me, in the long term, I'll always go for buying a property because it makes more sense. And myself, I consider myself a family man, so flexibility really in terms of that is not what I'm looking for, which is one of the pros or the advantages of owning a rental property. So for me, that's not an option, right? Okay, please make sure that when you make this decision to either buy a property or to rent out the property, you have evaluated all these options and you are really sure that your decision that you've made is a sound decision, right? It is the big elephant. Ndo Korea manage. Cheers. I'm out.